Hello, welcome to Coaching with Leticia. I'm your host, Leticia, and I'm so thrilled to have you join me on this journey today. So my motto is innovate your business, elevate your life. So whenever you listen to my podcast, either one of those things will be the focal point. Now, today's focus is elevating your life, speaking specifically on dating and decoding relationships. Now, what makes my podcast unique is linking relevant theories to the topic in question. So today we are going to be looking at the Gottman Method, which focuses on relationships through a holistic lens. And if we have time, we will speak about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, before we delve into this topic, I just want to welcome all my new and current listeners. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. I don't know what's happening with my speech, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So without further ado, let me introduce my special guest today. His name is Afaron. He is a business owner. He is a talent agent, an entrepreneur. Okay. He is an author. Okay. He is the head and not the tail. He is.
Now you're doing too much this. I was waiting for it. I knew it was coming. I'm like,
I wouldn't be myself if I wasn't doing too much.
Just two titles is enough. No, 2 titles is enough, isn't it?
So Afaron, welcome to my podcast today. Welcome. So do you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself, including your relationship status, so people kind of understand and get an idea of what perspective you're speaking from?
Okay. First of all, I'm single. I've been single for about 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I run a talent agency called Momentum Music.
Excellent.
I hate talking about myself, Tish.
I know you do.
I hate putting myself forward. I just let the work speak for itself. I'm an author, a musician. I'm a creative. I love being around people. I'm just an all-round positive. I like to be an advocate. So I like to be positive. I like to help others. Growing up in church and stuff, you learn how to serve and help other people. And now I just do it in everyday life. That's me in a nutshell.
Excellent. Thank you. So what I've noticed, Afaron, is that on your TikTok, you have a lot of video clips from couples therapy.
Yeah.
So what's inspired you to focus on those particular clips that you choose to upload?
It's very interesting because a lot of those couples, I don't think many of them have had therapy either while they were courting, engaged. So they're kind of having the therapy either 2 years deep to 10 years deep, 15 years deep. So there's so much stuff to unravel. And I think just going through that process bit by bit with some of the couples and actually watching, hearing some of their stories, how they overcome things or how they're still dealing with things, even in the marriage, whether they break up or they're still together or they're sticking it out, whatever it is, I think for me was very important to just share. Like I said, I'm an advocate, so I'm all about growing, constantly growing. Consistency is key. And I just thought I'd share it for fun, and then it blew up overnight. Don't ask me how it happened. It just did. Literally, I remember the time it happened. I think I was uploading videos on a Friday, and I was already at 3K followers at the time, just posting my own stuff. And then people were just like, dude, we need more. Because it wasn't just the videos I was posting. It was the videos. And then I'd put my own narrative of what I thought would, the couples were saying. So it gave a perspective of what I thought. And a lot of people were like, oh, that makes sense. Or I've never thought of it like that. Oh, yeah, everything you said is exactly what I think. Obviously, everyone's narrative could be subjective. It may be accurate. It may not be accurate. Right. But by what I was putting up, people felt like it was accurate enough and they could relate to it. And some people were really, just inspired by it. And it was kind of like half advocating, half ministry. It's very weird to say, but that's basically what it was. Yeah.
So you use the word courtship, just so that my listeners understand, what does courtship mean? What is courtship?
Well, I'm assuming, and so I don't want to get the technical dictionary.
Let's be technical.
But, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's when you're both in it, you're in an exclusive relationship, and you're kind of moving towards marriage.
Okay. So is that different to dating?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because when you're dating, you're kind of just gathering data, go in the field. Maybe you might be exclusive, you may not. There's a lot of titles, and I've said this on my own podcast as well. There's a lot of titles and a lot of stages within, being single to dating to marriage.
Okay.
And it's it varies for everyone. Everyone's stages are different. So
Yeah.
you know.
Because I know some people feel that when you meet somebody, you connect, then it's like you're exclusive. Just what I'm saying. Whereas some people, they like to take their time with that process. What is your method?
Well, as a believer, it will be a lot shorter than a lot of other people's stages. I think for me, obviously, is talking stage. I think getting to know someone as a friend, as well as just the person, is very, very important. And then probably dating. And when I mean dating, I mean like exclusively dating. I'm not a person to be a serial dater. You won't catch me on any social like dating apps. I said it before, and I'll say it 1,000 times. You will not catch this profile on any dating apps.
But if you do, just upload it.
No, it's never happening. You will not. You will not. If it is me, it's a spam. I'm telling you now.
Screenshots in the comments.
It's a spam. Yeah, but exclusively dating, courtship. Obviously getting on one knee, proposing, fiance, and then marriage. Like, it's very short.
Right. Okay.
Like those stages. Like, I'm not doing this thing of moving in, giving you a key.
Then once.
Saying the oh, I love you as a stage. I get all that comes with it, but there's just too many stages. It's just
okay.
I'm very much blunt with those type of things.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So, in your experience, Afaron, what are some of the common misconceptions people have about intimate relationships?
That's a big question.
I know.
All right. First of all,
a misconception.
You said the most important word in that sentence: intimate. A lot of people don't know what intimacy is.
Right.
So they equate love and intimacy, or actions and intimacy, or sex and intimacy as the same thing. It's not. And I think once you're able to identify what intimacy looks like to you as well as the other person, then you can sit down and kind of have the conversation. So there's a lot of misconceptions about that, especially again in today's society with sex versus intimacy. Yeah, you could sleep with someone, but it doesn't mean necessarily you're showing. Someone else might call that intimacy. Some people might just call it, sex. Intimacy in the relationship could be all the love languages. I'm showing you quality time, words of affirmation throughout the day.
Yeah.
So by the time we get to the bedroom at the end of the night, married couples, then the whole, sexual part of it, activities and stuff, it's a lot more. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot more packed into it other than just the action, sex and stuff. And, intimacy is a two different, and then also how you were raised as well. Like, were you raised, and we've spoken about this, in a space of survival or love, and what does that look like? Or what does intimacy look like for you growing up? Because it could be very different.
Yeah.
It's, again, coming back to the 5 love languages. So there's a lot of misconception about that, I think, in today's society.
So break down your term and what you said about love and survival. Just expand on that a little bit, please.
All right. So my kind of like subjective thing about it is that if you were raised in a space of love, there was probably, you probably received loving affirmation and intimacy from at least one or both parents.
Right.
In the form of any of the 5 love languages, as we know what they are. Gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch. There's one more. Wait, don't tell me. Acts of service. All right, cool. I got there eventually. So any one of those, and again, it could be, to give an example of what those, I could be taking you out to the park, I could be going swimming. Like for me, my mum, and you guys have seen me podcast with my mum, like she used to take us out to the park and stuff and do different things and different activities. So for me, I was raised, and then on top of that, she used to give us biblical principles as well. So she would sit down with us, read scripture with us, show us, like, in the Bible as kids, what does it mean, explain it to us. So quality time and physical touch was very much my 2 love languages for me when it works like that.
Okay.
But if you've raised in a place of survival, and this is, like I said, it varies. So if you were in a space where, you were growing up in either in a working class home, or your house was very poor, or your parents just didn't have any mental or emotional intelligence. They didn't know how to, because they were never shown it growing up. So how are they able to give that to you? So your validation of what love and intimacy might look like, it could be completely different. So you may have raised in survival, and then obviously if you're self-aware and you know what that looks like, you can make changes obviously to do that, but the dynamics are very different.
Because you touched on love languages in a particular order of importance, what's your love language?
Probably physical touch, quality time. Words of affirmation, don't really care about it that much. That may change, but for the moment it's cool. Acts of service, again, I find that quite difficult. Not difficult, That's not true. I like giving acts of service to other people.
Mm-hmm.
When they're doing it for me, it's a bit of a techie one. We're gonna have to have a discussion about that.
Mm-hmm.
But not because I don't like to receive. It's just I'm just used to, when you've been raised in church, you're just used to always serving in some capacity. Gifts can be at the bottom. I don't really. If it's a sentimental gift, I will treasure it for the rest of my life. But I don't get validation from buying, night trainers or jewelry or having cars. That's just not my thing, because it's just not.
Okay, so like material gifts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really. Yeah, doesn't really get me going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you define a healthy relationship?
Again, good questions, Tish.
I
You're
know,
really going for
I
it today.
know, you
Yeah,
know me,
I'm
you
not ready
you
for that.
know me.
Okay. Healthy relationship. I think there needs to be a level of. I know that this is gonna sound so cliche, but I want to take it to different levels. Communication, obviously, but I think it's about hearing each other out, constantly trying to be as self-aware as possible, both for yourself and the other person. Creating space for you to be vulnerable with each other. Very, very important. Understanding who you are as best as you can, coming back to self-awareness as best as you can, when it comes to, the psychology, your attachment styles, all these other psychological terms that we learn.
Yeah.
We're learning more also in today's world, which is great. Which is just a simple Google search, but just understanding those things. Once you understand yourself, you'll be able to be, I think, more empathetic and sympathetic for your partner, because you may have been raised completely differently. Right. So understanding another person's perspective and being humble in yours, and just having an exchange is creates a healthy relationship, and growing together, just literally just growing together.
Okay.
And all the love, intimacy, and everything else, and however that looks for you, because that will vary from person to person. What you want within the relationship in a partner might be different from what I want, but as long as we talk about our preferences, and then we kind of make expectations on how we're gonna serve each other, then it's a nice little ecosystem you got going on there.
So in terms of relationship wise, do you feel that roles are important? So the male and female role, and if you do, could you expand on that?
I think roles are important when it comes to, there's levels.
Okay.
So I think the main gist of roles will be more important when you're married, I want to say. When you're married, then you can discuss what roles you want to do, because every marriage is going to be different. Every person's role is going to be different. But I think there's certain things especially when it comes to being a man, you just have to do, like being chivalrous, opening, car doors, what's the other one? Standing on the outside of the road. Those little, like, they say basic things, but they are basic things. Those things are very important, especially when it comes to women as well. Feminine and being friendly is very important. All this boss chick energy that we see going around, it's good for when you're in the office, but when you're outside of that, you've got to learn how to balance being the lion and the lamb. Do you know what I mean? On both sides, both for men and women. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. And if I missed it, I apologize. You did speak about love and survival, and you spoke about love, your mum taking you to the park and things like that. Yeah, right. What is survival?
Survival, again, this is very subjective, but what I've seen, what survival looks like is that, your parents or your guardians are making an effort to survive, do the day-to-day life, because life is hard, obviously, but then also trying their best to, it's routine. It's very much tends to be more routine based. So I've got to, go out and work, make sure responsibilities are taken care of, that type of thing. When it's added with love now, it kind of balms. It's like the soothing part of it. It kind of makes it all better. But if you're not raised like that, then you're just gonna get a sense of independence, whether that be from the child or from the adult, because the adult is not really teaching. Can be, not all the time, but may not be giving values to the child. It's just like we've just got to repeat and have a cycle of routines that we're used to doing. So the child might just grow up independent and be like, you know what, I just kind of fend for myself, type of thing. And then they repeat the cycle, and it goes, unless they get help and, become self-aware and realize, you know what, I need to break this pattern. Let me try something different. Let me learn what intimacy, love, and all these other things are the other side, because there's nothing wrong with being independent, but at the same time, there's a balance in how you deal with things in life.
Okay. So just one more thing, going back to when you said you won't be on dating websites,
No.
Then how does one meet you?
Good question.
You're welcome.
Social events, if I'm at any, which is rare these days, but it happens. Social media, I'm a very much old school type of person.
So we have to slide into your DMs, basically.
Yeah, you can do. I don't have no problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen often, but you know, I don't have no problem. I'm not going to reject it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just meeting socially. If I see you, you know, at an event or something like that, and we end up talking, just it's organic, then I'm like, cool. Like, I will take the initiative and take the lead, and you know, get contact details and do what I need to do from there. Really, to be honest, but I don't know. I'm very much that type of. I'm very old school, very traditional, very old school.
Mm-hmm.
There are some modern bits in me as well, but the social media stuff, the dating app stuff ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
Okay. So when you look for a woman, what is someone like you looking for?
Oh, that's a big question. Are you sure? How much time we got, Tish?
I got time, bro.
I'm having to look at my list now. I'm actually having to replay the list in my head. Okay, cool. So what I'm looking for, definitely, on there's levels.
Yeah, you're breaking it down.
I'm breaking it. You got me breaking it. Yeah. I'm breaking it down because it's more than spiritual. Just, for me, it's never just been about looks only. I don't know if you've heard the term. You would have. They call it sapiosexual. It's more about you're more attracted to the person for their mind and their intelligence and things like that. So for me, like, I meet beautiful women. Obviously, I work in the entertainment industry, so I'm used to being around beautiful women every day. But as soon as they open their mouth, there's something that's gonna trip them up and fool them and just be like, yeah, you're not the one for me because you said something that's a little bit like it's giving me the ick. Do you know what I mean? And it could just be things that a bunch of things. I'm not gonna go down that list. But what I do want in a partner would be someone, obviously, who's a Christian, who believes God, believes in God, has a relationship with God. That's kind of like the first two non-negotiables for me. Everything else after that is just preferences, more than expectations. So preferences could be like emotionally intelligent, mentally intelligent, is able to take risks, spontaneous, likes to grow, be consistent. So everything I'm saying is most likely going to mirror who I am or what I'm doing already, in a sense of just my personal development. I'm never going to ask for there's some things on the list, obviously, but I'm not going to ask for someone that I haven't done the work on myself. Do you know what I mean? If I've done the work in certain areas, I would ideally like to be equally yoked and on a same equal playing field. If she's either a little bit, you know, behind me or a little bit forward of me, that's cool. I can work with that. It's not too far. It's not too bad. But if it's something that's just like, yeah, we're just not going to match and we're not connecting at all in any, especially mentally, emotionally, spiritually, then yeah, we're already identified. It's just not going to work.
Okay. So you speak about doing the work. What does that exactly mean? Because I know for me, okay, go on.
No, go on for you, go on.
Do you know what? I don't even know why I put it on me.
Go on. I know what my
that was a mistake. But for me, doing the work, when I was doing the work was, I did a lot of reading of how to be a wife. I did a lot of listening to people that were married for a long period of time. I did a lot of things behind the scenes. I even trained myself how to give massages professionally, so that if my husband needed a massage, I know what to do professionally. I upskilled myself in things to make sure that I'm a good wife. So whether it be my cooking, with whatever it was. So that's for me doing the work, to be prepared for a husband. Just what I'm saying. So agree. What do you mean by exactly you doing the work for you?
On the other side. So I think it's being.
So you got cooking classes?
No, not classes. Mum used to teach me to cook, but I could cook and try stuff out anyway.
Yeah.
She taught me that from very young. What else? I think, again, coming to preparation. So I would make an effort to be like, I'm taking out the trash. I don't want my woman or my sisters or whoever, my mum, taking out the trash. What's the other thing? Helping out with shopping, like in the car and stuff like that. Like, mum can do the shopping, but then when she brings the car and she's like, yo, I need help. Whatever I'm doing, I'm stopping immediately, whether I'm playing the game, whether I'm on doing work. I'm saying, right, I'm taking 5 minutes out to go and make an effort to go, not complain, do it with a smile on my face, whether I'm tired, whatever, go and take these shopping bags out the house, out the car, put them in the house. Yeah. Whatever else she needs to do, if I need to pack them away, I will do. But I've trained my brain to be like, I'm preparing for my future wife, and these are the things I'm going to need to do. I'm going to teach my sons to do this as well.
Of course.
I mean, like, if we work in a team and we make it happen, this is what being a leader is about. You have to lead by example. So things like that as well. But outside of like exact things like that, it will be reading books, studying certain male role models, whether that be secular or spiritual. So obviously R.C. Blake's.
Come on.
Who else? Vusi from South Africa. There's loads of people I can think. Brian Meadows. There's a bunch of different pastors and ministers and all business people that I've learned over the years. I've taken notes. I've actually asked for accountability as well. So my inner circle, my boys, if there's anything that is like, I have thank God, I have like-minded friends around me, both male and female. So if there's anything that I'm doing that's dropping off, they know. They'll call me like, bro, nah, you're dropping off my G, like fix up in it. And thankfully it doesn't happen too often. But I'm able to be in an environment where we're sharing, we're being vulnerable. So it's just consistent growth from the inside out. Really, I think that started from growing up in a Christian household when it was focused on knowing God for yourself more than going to church is fine, but having a relationship with God and knowing God for yourself on a spiritual level is very important. But then I turned that into a natural thing of saying, all right, who am I? Who is Afaron deep down within himself? If I know who I am within myself, I can then just be the same person I am everywhere I go. I'm not putting on 500 masks for different people.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm not trying to people please. And I know it's easier said than done because not everybody grew up in a, a two-parent household where the environment was healthy and everything else. However, it is possible to make the effort if you are willing. Do you know what I mean? And because I've been willing, and there's more to grow. I don't think I've done the work, but I know there's always more to, develop and evolve into. So when you meet that partner, you're not starting from level one. Each generation, we want to do better than our parents, our grandparents. So we always want to make sure we're starting at a higher playing field. So if we can do that, by the time our children get here, they're gone.
Don't you feel like the fact that you've been single for 3 years, so you've been single for 3 years, don't you feel that you get a bit comfortable, or does your list adjust? What happens?
Oh yeah, my list adjusted.
Really? So let's expand on that.
It adjusted, probably not too much. I think that last relationship, it was I have no regrets about it. It was very much a learning lesson for me. So it confirmed a lot of things that I don't want. So by the time I went back to the list and revisited, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I know this time. this is definitely what I don't want. This is what I do want. But sorry, what was the second part of that question or first part of that question?
Look at me. Do you know what it is?
You was gone off clear. You was gone off. I'm thinking, hold on.
So it was about you and in terms of
the list, the list. Okay,
the list and adjustments of the list.
Okay, so adjustments of the list. Yeah, there was adjustments. I'm a very different person to where I was 3 years ago.
Right.
I don't think, and I don't want to say it like this, but the person that I was with, I'm a totally different person now. I'm sure she is as well. So if people are like, oh, would you ever get back with your ex, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if that was ever to happen, we'd have to talk about it from two different, like brand new people. We weren't the same 3 years ago. And that's how I am now. And I can actually say that I've grown, I've developed more. I've healed from that situation. I've been put the work in to heal from it. And anything that I do speak about it now is from a reference point of just reference more than some people speak from pain a lot of the time.
Yes.
So I don't have that. I literally speak from reference and I can be vulnerable and be like, yep, it is what it is. I made a couple mistakes here, or I was really good here, or I learned this, but do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm a totally different, the list is much more concrete than what it was before.
And what I was saying before is whether you just get comfortable just being single.
You can, right, I'm different. I'm an entrepreneur, yeah, like yourself. So I think when you're on the go of either, hustling or doing your business and really working on things, you can get comfortable because it's just like, what, I'm just focused on my business. My business is my baby. Or my businesses are my babies. Or not my partner, obviously, but I'm like, you're focused on that so much. But then you get caught up when you have a really successful day and then you've got no one to share it with because you're like, family's cool. That's a different type of love. Friends are cool. That's a different type of love and appreciation. But you're like, I don't have someone close sometimes. And then you're like, oh, snap. Like, but then you have to think it's got to be the right person. If it's not the right person, I'm not just here for companionship only. Do you know what I mean? If I was to look for anyone, it would have to be a life partner. So we got to make sure we're equally yoked and we're on the same page. Otherwise, I'm not wasting my time doing anything. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. So the theory we're going to be looking at is Dr. John Gottman Method, and he's commonly used in couples therapy. Not too sure if you've heard of him
Nah,
before.
this is
You may have heard of some of his
maybe
principles.
we'll see.
The
We'll
thing
see.
what you guys don't know about me and Afaron is that we love talking about psychological things
I
and
love my psychology.
theories,
Yeah, I
and
love
we
that.
just go in deep.
I
So
love that.
this is a juicy one. I'm kind of glad you haven't heard of this one.
No.
So listen up. So Dr. John Gottman is a prominent American psychologist. He is renowned for his extensive research on marriage stability and relationship analysis. He co-founded the Gottman Institute with his wife, Dr. Julie Schwartz Gottman, and they basically provide research-based interventions to support couples. Now, Dr. Gottman is best known for his ability to predict divorce with over 90% accuracy by observing couples. I knew it was coming. I was waiting.
Now you said it. I was like, okay, cool.
By observing couples' interactions, his work often conducted at the Love Lab.
Yeah.
Now, he focuses on identifying key behaviors and communication patterns that contribute to successful and unsuccessful relationships. So he's authored several books, one mainly known as The 7 Principles for Making a Marriage Work, which offers practical advice for building and maintaining healthy, lasting relationships. Now, what I love about this theory is some of the things that you were saying, because this is a theory that's quite new to me. So I'm ready to get into the juice. That's how I was like,
let's go. I'm ready to learn. Let's go. I'm ready.
So what was really amazing is, as long as you don't mind sharing, and I don't mind sharing, certain things that we've learned from our exes in terms of communication and things like that. So focusing on communication, what ways do you believe your partner can communicate to you? Remembering, obviously we've spoken about this before, that our childhood tends to influence the way we communicate. Okay? That's not Gottman, that's Leticia.
That's it, yeah.
So my question to you is, what ways do you believe your partner can communicate to you, whether it would be verbal, non-verbal, whatever? You just freestyle with that question.
I think it depends on the situation, obviously. But if it's just something they just want to talk about, I have no problem. I'm first of all, as the man, I will always be, and I did this in my last relationship because God told me to do this. He was like, you need to, as a leader, you need to set the tone for when you have conversations that are either hard or difficult or vulnerable. You need to set a safe space to open that door and kind of give permission to it. So once you give permission to it, and you can curate that space in that's safe and a good environment, every meeting you have after that, whoever your partner is will get used to that because you set the tone. And I remember God said you need to do that in a relationship. And I remember after doing that, it was easier to have conversations or for her to bring certain things to so she was just like, yo, we need to sit down and have a conversation. I was like, yeah, sure, we can sit down whenever you're ready. Just let me know. But she knew, okay, this is vulnerable space time, and we kind of made it a thing. So
basically creating a space for her to be vulnerable, for you to be vulnerable, and things like that.
Yeah. I think that's and a lot of men need to learn that. I don't think they learn how to learn that, or they've never been taught that either. They just, when I think a lot of people get used to blame. So if, she brought something to me, most people who are not aware, they will just think, oh, you're just blaming me for something. It's like, no, if you actually hear the fullness of what's being said, it's a concern to her. It's not really about you. Do you know what I mean? So if you set the tone and just have to just really just listen and all right, what is this person trying to say to me now? Because right now I'm meeting their needs, not my own. That's like, for me, the most powerful thing that we can start with. Everything else from there is just like bullet points. She can come to me and I think, and also that's another thing, respect. So not just from a typical man needs respect. I'm talking about respect in general. The love of God, whatever it is. You can be angry, you can have your space to be emotional, it's totally fine. But as long as we're doing it respectfully, even better. I'm not going to be one shouting, blazing. It's just not going to, I just don't do it because I don't deal with conflicts like that. We can have deep conversations and be very calm about it and be like, okay, cool. Or it might get heated, that's fine. But I will never disrespect you, and I would never expect you to do the same either. Does that make sense? So as long as we can have, disagreements are fine, because disagreements and not agreeing with each other is totally fine. It happens. But disrespect is just like non-negotiable for me. It's just not going to happen. And I would create a space where there would be respect. So if you're acting out of line as my partner, we're going to look at each other and be like, come on, this is not how we orchestrate certain things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What do you mean by, because disrespect is different to everyone.
Very
So
true.
what is disrespect? How do you feel
Calling me out
disrespected?
my name,
What do you mean?
cussing.
Oh, I see,
Yeah,
I see. I think you call out your name, like your name's
calling me
Afaron.
out of my name.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So, yeah, cussing, shouting, putting your finger in my face, all that. Yeah, all of that.
Is that too much?
Way too
Jeez.
much. Especially when your partner, as the male, is a leader and a protector, and he would never think of putting his hands on you.
That's right.
And then you think, okay, because I know he wouldn't do that, I can do that to him.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah,
I don't like that. I don't like it when I see women physically or men physically abusing the other person. I think there's ways of expressing how you feel without being physical or smashing up someone's belongings, whether it be a car. Maybe it's car because, I love my cars. And I think, don't touch my car, babes. Don't touch my car. But what I'm saying
hold on, you smashing up your car?
No, what I'm saying, I've had experiences with a male friend.
Okay.
And he had a female companion.
Directly. Okay, cool.
So that's where my car was vandalized. But it's cool. It's all love.
All right.
But women do it. I've seen it on the social media where they smashed up a car and the man was buying a birthday cake for the woman.
I saw that.
Do you know what I mean? So these things happen. I just think there's ways of expressing how you feel, but you don't need to you don't need to bring physical harm.
Right.
But then this is where we go back to the root of survival or love.
Right.
How was you raised? What are you used to seeing as a child? How did you communicate in your environment? Was you even able to communicate as a child in your environment? So all of these things matter when you become an adult and become, someone that's in a relationship. I just feel that some people get in relationships for different reasons. But I don't feel that everyone's always ready for a relationship because, in my opinion, a relationship, there's a lot of selflessness.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes, because I'm a selfless person, sometimes I feel that I then sometimes attract selfish men.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes it's difficult being a selfless, giving person.
Yeah.
Because,
they just take us.
They can do, but it's, we spoke about having boundaries.
Yeah. I think outside of the physical abuse, there's also emotional abuse, especially through words.
And financial,
of course, we know. But words in particular,
Definitely.
women and the words is very powerful towards men because you can crush a man's ego with just a sentence.
Well, we've seen it. We've seen it on social media.
People, and it goes both ways, but I'm saying in particular, people need to be careful how they handle themselves when it comes to words. I hear this on social media all the time about, I tell you something vulnerable and you kind of use it against me.
Yes.
That's never happened to me personally, but I can understand how men will be feeling a certain type of way because like, well, you didn't do this and da, da, da. And you're like, I told you that in confidence. Why are you using this now against me? I'm not that person anymore, blah, 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 blah. So, it's a lot.
And just to say that even when sometimes women, I tend to find it's mainly women that record a man and they're downgrading him like, no, this is a private moment. We don't need to be, we don't need to be seeing this. I feel so awkward. But I think maybe because I wasn't really raised in social media. Does that make sense? Like, not saying I'm new to it, but there is a generation raised in just sharing themselves freely on social, whereas I'm like, that don't need to be shared.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So in terms of managing conflict, Afaron, what ways do you feel is the best way to manage it? If you was to have conflict with your wife?
Oh, my wife, girlfriend, fiance. On what scale? The really heated scale, or we're just like
both.
Oh Lord Jesus!
Yeah.
All right, if it's on the heated scale, first thing I'm doing, I'm gonna be like, all right, cool. We need to take 5. I'm gonna go out for a walk. Not that I'm saying it like I'm gonna go for a walk or else. I just know for me, going for a walk, seeing with nature calms me down and kind of resets me. Getting some fresh air resets me. So I'll go for a walk, come back and be like, all right, cool. Now the tension's cool. We can kind of deal with this situation. That's on that end of it. I'm never going to hit a woman. It's never happened in my family where between my mum and dad, never been abusive. Like there'll be arguments and voices will be raised and stuff, but it would never be abusive in physical. So, I would never have any anger towards, even if I am angry or whatever, I would never take it out on you in that way. On the other side, on the much calmer, it can just be a simple conversation, really. It's just a moment of just sitting down, either setting up a meeting or or time to talk, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to be formal. Sorry, be very informal and say, look, babes, I just have a moment to talk. Maybe she's like, yo, I want to create a space, or if it's in the afternoon and she's like, I want to talk tonight, let me know when you're free. I'm like, cool, let's have a discussion about it. Do you know what I mean? But I would try and make it, like I said, come back to the curation of just making it a safe space and a positive space so we can get what we need and we're both being heard and there's a solution as an outcome at the end of it.
It's funny because some of the things you've said, and I don't think you've realised, is what the Gottman theory encourages you to do.
I do this all the time though. We've spoken about this. I do things, right, because I do my research, right? I work it myself, but then it's only when I go and read the theory now, I'm like, oh, snap, I do that.
Yeah.
Not knowing because it's natural. Do you get? So I'm used to it.
So what we're going to do is look at and explore the negative communication patterns
here we go.
By Dr. Gottman, which is known as the 4 horsemen of the the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is about toxic communication.
I love it. Come, let's go.
I know you do.
I love it. From narcissism right now. I love it. I love it. I love it. Come on.
Let me ease you in, man.
Sorry. I'm getting gas.
It's actually no difference when we're talking on the phone.
Okay, cool.
So, the 4 horsemen, we are now going to delve into criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Coming. Coming. So let's start with criticism. So this is toxic communication. Okay. So for example, remember I said to you, might role play, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So criticism. So basically that is attacking the character of the person.
Yeah,
all right. And what we can do, whether we want to do it afterwards or during, we'll just see how we flow.
All right.
We're then going to kind of rebuttal, I love that word, and see how we can give positive reinforcement to the statement. Okay. So 1 or 2 you can do, but let me read it. So for example, let's just role play. It's you and I, yeah? So you say, I was scared when you were running late. No comment. And you didn't call me. I thought we had agreed that we would do that for each other. So let's just say, I say that to you. Do you know what? I was really scared of Afaron. You're running late. You didn't call me. I thought we had agreed that we would do that for each other. Okay, this is criticism. Okay. This is the response. Should I put on my East End now?
Don't start, Tish. Don't start, yeah?
Let me put in my little Sharon. My Ian Bill.
Don't start with the accent.
My little Sharon. I love an accent. Okay, all right. I'll behave this episode. So criticism. Okay, so this response is, you never think about your behaviour is affecting other people. I don't believe that you are that forgetful. You're just selfish. You never think of others and you never think of me.
Is that how you going on? So you're mad? If you see, that's my reaction. If I heard that, I just would have been like,
So that is toxic communication.
100%.
So this is from, I was scared when you were running late.
Right.
And you didn't call me. Like, I thought that's what we agreed. Yeah. And my response is, do you know what? You're just selfish. You're just thinking about yourself. You're not even thinking about anybody else. Okay. Or your behavior. And I just don't think that you're forgetful. I just think that you're just all about yourself. Is that the right way to respond, Afaron?
Of course not.
Look at you chatting with your soft tone.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Because I'm having to
cushion and nurture.
No, you can't. That was completely wrong.
Okay.
Completely
so what
wrong.
do you feel is the best way to navigate that situation? Or the best way to respond? Do you think that or the person should be so like, oh my gosh, you're so selfish? Like, do you think they should just criticize? 100%. What do you think?
It depends on the situation. But let's just say this is a healthy relationship. Let's just start there. Yeah, I know it may not be. It
is toxic communication, okay, but
if it from a healthy relationship, I just would have simply said, you know what, babe, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. We did agree that it either got out of hand or my phone died, or just give whatever the situation was. Take accountability for the fact that if I said I was going to be a man of my word and do it, I would do it. That's the first thing. So taking accountability.
Okay.
So, what I would say after that is that, you know what, I know it's a little bit late. I'm contacting you now. Is everything okay? Is there everything you need me to do? Blah, 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 blah. So then I would kind of like amend that and just make it a little bit more calmer. Just like, look, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll do better next time. So on and so forth. Yeah. Okay. That's what I was, if it was a toxic something now, it's a little bit mad because
So you wouldn't rebuttal with, no, you're selfish.
no. Do you know what it is as well? It's the word agreed that got me like triggered. Mainly because, again, I've had this experience before. Someone can agree to something or make the other person to agree to something out of control.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you both have agreed to. Do you see what I'm saying?
Got you.
So it depends. That's what I said. It depends on a healthy version versus a toxic or an unhealthy version.
Right.
So and because I've learned how to have perspectives, I can look at the black, the white, and all the different shades of grey at once. It's a skill that I've just learned. God just bless me with that skill. That is what it is. But I'm able to look at every single side of it and be like, okay, cool. Like, how do I adjust? So yeah, the whole thing with the agreed, that's the word that kind of like really triggered me to be like, but on the healthy side, if I agree to that and I said that's what I was going to do and that's what we're going to do when it comes to me either coming home from an event or something like that, and I didn't do it, then yeah, you need to hold me accountable as my woman 100%. And I was,
but just not in that way.
But not in that way.
Okay, got you. So contempt goes far beyond criticism. While criticism attacks your partner's character, contempt assumes a position of moral superiority over them. So research has also proven, this is all the Gottman theory, so this is all on their website, people. Research has also proven that couples in these types of relationships, their immune system becomes affected. Let that sink in. So another role play. Context, Afaron. You've just come in from a long day of work. Okay. You come home to your wife and the children, and you just basically say you're tired. Go and say you're tired.
Tired, babes.
Tired.
It's been a long day.
What do they have? Not Nintendo. What is it now?
PlayStation.
Don't play your Atari. You don't know, I was showing my age. Commodore 64.
Call of Duty, yeah.
So you've had a long day, okay? And you're just like, you know what? Wife and kids, I just need my time.
First of all, I would never approach it like this. This is already triggering me. But go on. I'm just like, go on. Already triggering me.
So the wife is like, and you come and, you know what, babe, I'm just tired. So the wife is like, tired. This is not my words. This is online. Tired. Cry me a river. I've been with the kids all day, running around like mad to keep this house going, and all you can do is come home from work and flop down on the sofa and play those idiotic video games. I don't have time to deal with another child. Could you be any more pathetic?
I'm triggered.
So most importantly, contempt is the single greatest predictor of divorce. Right, and it 100%. Must be eliminated.
You know what? Yeah, this is probably that narrative has been probably played in our black communities 1,001 times. You know, from the Caribbean side, especially. Yeah, from our black community, that's probably been played out too many times from our parents, our grandparents. Like, I don't hear many of us millennials doing it, but definitely from our parents, definitely from my grandparents and great grandparents. That narrative is like very common.
So how would you, now you've seen, how would you reinforce, how would you rebuttal?
See, all right.
Is our key word.
You got me going there now. I have to go like 3 steps back to go like 5 steps forward. The first thing, coming back to whole setting the environment, is that as a leader, as a man, as much as this is where men really struggle, providing and protecting is only the physical parts of what you do as a leader in a household. It's also emotional and mental stability you need to have in a household with your wife and your kids. If you're not building that from the jump, your focus is going to be on, I'm only bringing in bread and providing and making sure there's a roof over everyone's head, which is fine. It's not great. I'm acknowledging that, but it's only half. So already he hasn't set an environment where it's like, okay, when he comes in, show intimacy to your wife, hug her, kiss her, whatever the case is, PDA. Same thing with kids. You can be mashed up all day long, but they're coming to come and see you because they haven't seen daddy all day.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's true.
So things like that, it's just like, let's start with creating an environment of love and intimacy as a regular form. So when I'm coming in or you haven't seen me for a while, I'm coming home from long days, well, yes, I'm tired, but I'm at least getting filled up with my love languages of physical touch or quality time with my family.
Yes. Where
I can get some sort of, that's the first stage. And then every man is entitled to their space for the first 5-10 minutes of coming into the house. I fully get that. But like I said, if you don't do those things first,
right,
then your wife wouldn't come home and be blasting you, like, because she'd be like, yeah, babe, I know you're tired. But at the same time, because she knows she's got intimacy throughout the day from you, whether they be text messages saying, oh, babe, you look beautiful, whatever it is, yeah, or you just do it as a natural thing. By the time you get home, she'll be like, yeah, babe, I've got food for you. Here's your slippers, here's your cigar. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Here's your whiskey.
Here's your whiskey. Yeah, you know what, kids, don't disturb daddy. It's fine, because you've created an environment that's like
that investment in that work,
it's
in that
added
effort.
value. You're working as a partnership together. So when he's like, babes, I'm tired today, she's like, oh, don't worry, babes, it's all right. Come here.
I
give
got
me it.
you.
I got you. It's cool. Already, I'm telling you, if every man just needs to just literally focus on the emotional and mental development of how to create that environment and cultivate it in a nice, loving way. Because, and then this is the other thing, you can be lying out there all day long. You can be the biggest lion on raw, hunt, kill. As soon as you step through them doors, that is a sanctuary. That's your sanctuary. That's your family sanctuary.
Yeah.
Don't be bringing that energy out there into this home. Do you understand? You are a king in this home, 100%. But this is a space of refuge. And if you're trying to upset this place because, oh, it's my king and my castle, my domain, I do what I want. No, you can't have that environment indoors.
Yeah.
Leave that out there with the rest of the kingdom and the presents and jesters and thing. When we're in here, our thing is different. When the doors are closed, they don't see us. We've got privacy. We've got whatever. But treat this home like a sanctuary. And a lot of men don't know how to do that.
I think it definitely goes both ways. Both persons should put the effort in.
100%.
So I'm saying I do believe that men need to put the effort into their partner, and the partner needs to put the effort into their men as well.
Right.
So defensiveness is typically a response to criticism.
Right.
Okay. So the question is, did you call Sabrina and Jason to let them know that they're not coming tonight as you promised this morning? That's the question. Okay. A defensive response. I was just too busy today. In fact, you know what?
From the time I ain't know
You just know how busy my schedule is. Why didn't you just do it yourself?
Okay. Because of time, we'll just cut this one out and just,
No.
Babes, I'm sorry. You're absolutely right. It slipped my mind, whatever the case is. Again, taking accountability. I'm going to do that right now before I forget. Let me just take 2 minutes out to stop what I'm doing and go and do this and then go back to whatever I was doing before. Absolutely, like, thank you for telling me. I'll remember better next time. I'll work on my skills, because maybe organization, whatever's not really my best, but thank you for keeping it out. Done. Like, it's not hard. A lot of men just need to, it's not, bruv, your ego is like, your help me is there to help you. If you're not doing your job, fix up and do your job. Increase your capacity. It's a whole nother conversation, but anyway.
Yeah, that's what
we've got next question. Next one. Because of time. Next
right,
one.
the last one is stonewalling. Okay, so stonewalling is usually a response to contempt. So stonewalling occurs when the listener withdraws from interaction. So what they do is they shut down. They either stop responding to their partner. Rather than confronting the issues with the partner, people who stonewall can make evasive maneuvers such as tuning out. Okay. Acting busy or engaging in obsessive or distracting behaviors. So if you feel like stonewalling during a conflict, stop the discussion, ask your partner to take a break for at least 20 minutes, calm down, and then return back to the conversation.
100%.
Yeah. So this is the Gottman theory method. All right. And you may not even realize you're communicating in any of these ways, and you may not even be able to control it. But it's something you may not, because you won't know that you're doing it.
See why you want a part 2 now.
What did I? Right.
Yeah,
okay. Right. Now there's so much. All right.
Because what you just said is
there's a whole nother thing. Okay. Right. So we spoke about. Because the thing is, we can speak for hours. Okay. So we spoke about the Gottman Method and identifying the 4 horsemen. Okay. And each step we replace them with healthy rebuttals, things that's best to have said to your partner. All right. And they're called positive or healthy communication patterns. Okay. So the Gottman theory believes in increasing intimacy, so nurturing fondness and admiration, respect and affection. So turning towards each other rather than turning away in terms of conflict. Number 3, remove barriers that create a feeling of stagnancy. Okay. So letting your partner influence you. Number 4, create a heightened sense of empathy and understanding within the context of the relationship. Like you said, you know what, babe, I'm sorry, sometimes I forget. Yeah. So solving your solvable problems. Number 5, increasing closeness and friendship behaviors. Okay. Overcoming gridlock. And number 6, addressing conflict productively and building a life shared meaning together. Okay. Now, just in conclusion, there's something that I just want to finish up by saying before we close. So the advice from the Gottman Method is when a disagreement comes up, each partner will take 5 minutes to speak while the other simply listens.
Right.
And then they use the final 5 minutes to talk it through. So it's very interesting when you said that if you get to that heightened stage, that you'll just pull back and you're like, you know what, let me go for my time. It's important to just reflect and listen and listen to yourself as well. And there's a 777 rule, and then we can close. So every 7 days, you go on a date. Every 7 weeks, you go away for one night.
I agree.
Every 7 months, you two go off to a romantic holiday. Okay? And there's something I wanted to touch on as well, which is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. We do not have time. And also mental divorce. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about later.
Part two.
But how do you feel about the 777 rule, just to finish?
Oh, that should be like the norm. I didn't even know. I'm going to use that one. When I get in a marriage, I should definitely use that.
Yeah.
That should definitely be a norm in every marriage.
Every 7 days you go on a date. Every 7 weeks you go away for a night.
100%.
Every 7 months you two go and head off to a romantic holiday.
This is what I'm saying about, that's what cultivates the environment of a relationship where you can, work on the partnership together. You know what I mean? Because especially when the man's saying, yo, babes, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. He doesn't have to leave every 7 weeks holiday or whatever. But as long as he says, this is what we're looking to do moving forward, you can decide how the day is going to go, how, when, what day, all that stuff. You can discuss it between yourselves. So, yeah.
So, Afaron, what advice would you give to someone seeking a girlfriend, wife? What are you seeking at the moment?
I'm happy being single right now.
Oh, okay. Because you said that you're looking for what you'd look for.
Yeah, what I would look for.
Okay, so what advice would you give somebody that is listening?
Just use discernment. Like I've said it before 1,000 times. Use discernment. Don't avoid the red flags, or the orange ones, or the yellow ones, or whatever color you want to pick. And just take your time. Like, get to know the person. Don't be jumping in from, 0 to the bedroom straight away. Just like take time to build a friendship with a person, because you may not always, later on in life, you may not always love that person, but you still like that person. If you can be friends, you can get through a lot of things. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
And do a lot of work yourself.
100%.
Just there's a term that I used years ago, date yourself. So do things that you enjoy, so that even when you meet somebody, you can say, you know what you're about, and you know what 100%. You like, what you don't like, whether you're into activities, whether you're not into activities, whether you're into art. Do you know what I mean? Just take time out for yourself, grow and develop your mental health and wellness. That is so key.
I agree. 100%.
And do things you love and love what you do. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. Hopefully there'll be a part 2.
There will definitely be a part 2. There's no hope.
Because there's so much more we could have spoken about today and delved into. But again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show. Share, like, and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear your comments. I always read comments. Any feedback, any questions that you may have for the next show, please feel free to put it there. But welcome to Coaching with Leticia, and I will see you lot very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.